I swear, I cannot, it is impossible for me to make my hair look this good by trying. Like, I just took it out of the ponytail because I've been wearing a lot of ponytails recently. So I just pulled it out, ponytail, right before filming, and it looks great. I love this. And for those of you who are, pulling your phone out of your pocket to actually look at the video and see what I'm talking about and think that, maybe I just need a hairbrush and, you know, 4 inches of dead hair cut off. Rude, but, also accurate, but still rude. I think it looks great. We're not talking about shampoo bars today. I just, can only stay normal in these deep dive playlists for so long, and my mind is currently on my hair. So there's that. I will tell you what part 3 of the 4-part playlist for all things water and soap is about in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudzers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you are here for week 11 of year 3 and video number 3 of 4 in a deep dive playlist of all things water in soap. And so today we are going to be testing the benefits of a water addition in a very interesting soap. Full disclosure, I filmed 2 different versions of this, both with, the water at my normal amount, so 2.4 times the lye, and the water at 4 times the lye, a little over 4 times the lye, and I cannot find the 4 times the lye footage, but I do have the soap, so that's something. You will see that. But we are going to talk about the benefits of a water addition in soap making as it pertains to hot process. What I am showing you is not strictly a hot process recipe in that it is a hybrid between essentially fresh soap that is going to be made inside of melted down rebatch soap. And so that's a process in and of itself. That's not really the focus of the video, but we're going to talk about the benefits of a water addition while I'm making this and, do the thing. So I'm probably confusing the issue here. Let's get to the video and hope I don't confuse the issue more, there. Okay, so today we are doing a weird soap, and that weird soap really is, it's a hybrid of rebatch and regular hot process, in that I have 50 ounces of shred that I am adding 48 ounces of coconut oil to, plus 18.5 ounces of water in 8 ounces of lye. So it's basically a 2.4 times water solution that I'm adding to the fresh soap. This hybrid process is not really the focus here. The talking about, actual water additions in practice is the focus here. But if you're interested in this very strange hybrid, rebatch hot process soap, let me know and I'll do a whole ass video on it, give you a recipe. But I also filmed within all of this a recipe wherein I did the exact same thing. So 50 ounces of shred, the 48 ounces of coconut oil, and instead of doing 2.4 times water, I did 4.4, I believe. And that footage, unfortunately, got lost. But the soap bars themselves did not get lost, so you'll be able to see all of that, in due course. Now, Now, when you are dealing with a rebatch soap, you will always see, on soap forums or whatever, when you ask or you are trying to figure out, well, how much liquid should I add? What kind of liquid? And people are just like, oh, like a little bit. Because there's no real right or wrong answer to that. As we saw within the first soap video that I did for this playlist, you can add a pretty extraordinary amount of soap or of water to your, soap oils or whatever in a regular cold process batch. When you're dealing with rebatch, it really does depend on A, how old the rebatch is, so how much water it's lost, 2, how fluid you want the soap batter to be, and C, there is no C. That's really kind of all it depends on. And so with this one, I wanted to give essentially my stock standard amount of water that I would add to a normal batch of soap within this, again, cold process rebatch or hot process rebatch hybrid thing. And also, at 4 times the amount to show you just how much it will change not only a hot process recipe, but also a rebatch recipe, and allow you to have a much more fluid batter when it's all said and done. Now, within hot process, this is where water additions really shine, because hot process, it actually gets the soap oils and the soap itself to much higher temperatures than you're going to experience with a cold process just on your counter normal soap, right? Which means everything gets hard fast. And when things get hard fast, when things get thick fast in hot process, it tends to yield a more rustic looking bar, right? So that soap right there getting glopped into a mold, and believe me, you're going to see that actually getting glopped into a mold later. It's not fun. But herein, after I have melted the coconut oil and mixed it into the soap shreds, melted the soap shreds down nicely, I am now putting in the lye solution with, again, about 2.4 times the water to the lye for the unsaponified coconut oil that I've put in. But with a hot process recipe, you don't have to be dealing with what looks like sweet potatoes. You can add a not insignificant amount of water at really any stage of the game. I have found that the best way to do a proper fluid hot process recipe is to keep my water what I would normally keep it as for my lye solution, so 2.4 times, and then the lye, and do the mixy mix and let it do its cook thing and start to thicken up. And then when I am ready to pour, adding an additional 1 to 2 times water to the batch. This gives it a nice fluid consistency. You're able to mix it in really nicely. And again, I did that video. I can't find the footage. I'm super sorry. But it allows you, in adding that extra water, it allows you to have more freedom within your pour and your design than just like a solid color bar of soap, because it does become more fluid. There are a lot of benefits to doing hot process. I know a lot of soap makers swear by hot process, and that's great. That's perfectly wonderful. And they have mastered this craft of being able to make not only, hot process soap, but beautiful hot process soap that has, beautiful swirls and stuff in, just like melt and pour soap makers. They've really mastered their craft. And the trick with all of them is extra water. Add more fluid to your batch after it's cooked, and it allows you to really work with, any design that you can really think of, well within reason. And with this one, as you can see, this is the 2.4 times, and so really no actual water was being added to this, hybrid, and it shows. That's the experience that most hot process soap makers have the very first time. And it's not a lot of fun, but it's also still soap. It requires a little bit more work. You are literally getting your hands into a mold that I now broke. It's all a good time to make sure that everything is packed down nice and firm, but it does end up doing that. So again, a water addition would have super benefited here. And I did that. I didn't. I'm sorry. But with other soaps, like a cold process soap, you're going to be experiencing the same benefits from a water addition, but you also run the risk of experiencing some of the negatives of extra water, and those negatives really realistically are longer cure time, which you're going to experience the hot process recipe as well, but also glycerin rivers. And some people really dislike glycerin rivers and do not want to see them in their soap, in which case you would decrease the water. And on to the reveal of this, and yeah, as you can see, rustic, but as you can also see, still soap. And really, something like this, because as long as you have, really taken the time and pressed everything down in the soap itself, once you see the cuts, really you can just sort of plane the sides if it bothered you and continue on. For this particular soap, I just ground it down and did it again, essentially, and created a fluid bar of, soap or batch of soap. But with this, when you look at the inside of it, it's not terrible. There are definitely some pieces of the rebatch that still, they're flaky in there. They still didn't fully melt down. And they would have done so if I had allowed it to be more fluid, if I had added more water. And so again, with the water additions, you're really looking at the benefits being an easier pour. And if you're okay with the disadvantages being a longer cure time by quite a bit, as well as the potential of glycerin rivers and soda ash, then yeah, go for it. For sure. But with these, you can see this was the one that I did at 4 times the water for the, coconut oil that was put into the shreds. And yeah, it looks real nice. It's very smooth. This is realistically exactly what I wanted. It's very soft still. This is going to take longer to cure, which is super wild because my coconut soaps, my 100% coconut soaps, they don't take any amount of time at all to cure. So I'm going to have to actually wait a little bit on these ones. But it's a nice smooth, batch of soap. Not rustic at all. As compared to that, wildly different. Yes. And that one, nice and hard. Yeah. And so once this stops losing its water weight, because again, if it takes longer to cure because there's extra water in it, then the reverse is true. It takes less time to cure because there's less water in it. That one is going to be just fine. Well, a lot longer than the one next to it. But water additions, in practice, it's totally a beneficial thing in certain circumstances. So I made these 2 soaps, I don't know, about 10 days ago, right? And as you could see, with the one that has the 4 times water in it, it was very soft. And I just went ahead and stuck both of these in the dehumidifier and just let them sit for a few days because I knew I was going to be doing this. And this one is rock hard. So it's nice and smooth. It's lost a lot of the water weight. And so is this one. This one is actually shockingly rock hard because I put a bar of soap that didn't really need to be put in the dehumidifier in the dehumidifier. And so it's lost all of its water weight. This one still has a little ways to go. But as you can see, nothing crazy happens when you add a whole lot of water. So to the hot process people out there that probably already know this, but if there are cold process soap makers out there that are interested in, making some hot process batches, don't be afraid to add more water to ensure that you get a nice fluid pour, for sure. It totally works. Sorry I didn't have the footage for that one. I literally have no idea what camera it's on. I'll probably find it at some point, like tomorrow, and be super bummed. But there it is. Water additions are a very cool thing to do for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons really is to control the fluidity of your pour so you can have the really complicated designs. Or within hot process, to sort of counteract the heat that is going to be coming from hot process and the speeding up of saponification, by extra water. So next up in this playlist is going to be using a water reduction for design purposes. And I guess it's going to be a little bit of both a water reduction and a water, increase. Because when you start using science to figure out your designs, it becomes really fun, and playing with those lye concentrations yields a lot of beauty. And so that's what we are going to look at tomorrow, as well as how to control even the most temperamental fragrance with water discounts and or additions, then. So I hope you guys had fun. Like I said, I hope you had a great time. But I am out of here for today. Thank you to my sudzers for existing, for being you, for being here. I hope you're having a lot of fun with this playlist. I am having fun, doing the playlists for sure. But as I'm still getting over, a cold, which sucks because I feel like I was just sick, tired of all of this, I'm going to go sit down because I'm tired and I want to. So I will see you guys all again in the next one, just right after this, for the fourth and final installment of this water discount playlist. So, do the YouTube-y things and subscribe or whatever so you get reminded to come back if you're new. But I'm going to go, as I already said. Bye.